Hello, 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 everyone. Happy Taco Tuesday. How's everyone doing this morning? Good morning, Royal Palms. Good morning, Patrick. Good morning, Sterling. Thank you for putting in all the earnings this morning. Good morning, John. Good morning, Ted. Good morning to Rusty, Patrick, and people in the background over on Rumble. Glad Rusty's heat pump is working down in chilly Alabama. So lots of stock stuff out. Lots of jubilation over. Yes, there are beat, but like Coke. All right, compared to last quarters, they're lower. They did beat, but this is where I'm talking. Earnings expectations keep getting dumbed down to the point that, yeah, you're beating, but they're actually worse than last quarter. They're actually worse. And you know what? Let's all stand around the Ford Focus and clap. You know what? Let's stand around the Ford Focus and clap about that. That's celebrating mediocrity. Good. So 3M was a beat. Let me just go through these. Philip Morris. People are not crazy about Philip Morris. Beat down 2.25. Raytheon up 4.91. They want the war stocks, except Lockheed Martin's flat on a beat, but Coke up 2.54. General Motors, strong beat. Again, a lot of stuff got pulled forward, especially from electric stuff with the credits ending at September. But GM beat 10.52. Elevance Health 1.96 up on a beat. Northrop Grumman missed on revenue. How can you miss on revenue if they're a defense stock right now? What else do we have? What else? I'm just gonna go through the Equifax beat. Stock is flat. Halliburton beat. Stock up nearly 7%. Who else do we have coming in? Good morning, David. Good morning, Charles. Good morning, Daniel. Good morning, Mark. Good morning, Rick. Thank you all for tuning in. I really appreciate everyone. I really do. Really do. Okay. I've been up since 2:50 in the morning. Have a little too much coffee going on. Other than that, all's good. A red book. Did they come? I didn't see the numbers. Oh, there we go. 5% versus 5.9. So slight drop there. Oh, yay. We got Waller speaking. Was Waller's moving his jaw. We got him speaking twice today. Good morning, Heinrich. Thank you, buddy, for tuning in. So it's so quiet without all the government data. Without the government data, what are we trading off of? Well, you see here, GE Aerospace up 1.96. Got your Coca-Cola. Your Coca-Cola, all the mega caps except for Google and Apple are up, and Tesla. But sort of mixed there. Again, stuff that released earnings were strong today. Basic materials. We talked about gold, potential double top still in place. We talked about also the volatility. Remember, it doesn't only apply to equities. When volatility starts really spiking, it may be, doesn't have to be instant, but volatility can signal. Very key, bottoms and tops. So pay attention. And no, this is not a bottom in gold. uh Boy, basic materials down, real estate slightly down, financial down. There you go. Industrials and energy. So sort of a rotation into safety with industrials. We're getting that balance in energy. Still cut. Still priced in. Don't have to dwell on that. Fear and greed still solidly in fear mode. We have nothing to fear though. Nothing to fear here. Schiller PE 4021. What could ever go wrong? What could ever go wrong? We've hit a new era. If I hear it one more time, PEs don't matter. Nothing matters. You just got to buy it all. Hold your nose and buy it all. It matters till it doesn't. What else? Good morning, Andrea. Thank you for tuning in. Our auto's up. Well, GM is up off of earnings. Tesla's tomorrow afternoon. Today, after the close, we got Netflix, Texas Instruments, Capital One, Mattel, makers of the Intellivision. Anybody remember the Intellivision back from the early 80s? There we go. They got earnings. Not do the in television, but anybody old enough to remember that? What else? Spot gold extending losses, last down nearly 5%. People are panicking. Oh, really? I didn't see that. Did Goldman Sachs expects an iPhone driven Q4 beat for Apple? All right, we'll see about that. So, watch Netflix after the close today. Still technically an invalidated double top because this spike down. My targets for this are gonna be roughly, if it does trigger, it's really tight. That's why I'm watching this key close. I'm watching the key close on Friday the 10th. Friday the 10th. If we make a new close, that'll be interesting. Until then, I'm keeping an eye on about 67.50 for first level support. And then the major support 6,700 to 6,710, especially around 6,710. Minor, I'll watch the 80 EMA around 6,731. So, again, we've got the power move back up. And by the way, if we do, I'm watching the close. If we did close, this would not be a major shorting opportunity, but I am watching the close from Monday for a close below Monday if we pull back. Remember, we reset a couple weeks ago to the rotation zone on the weekly, rotating back up. Interesting enough, on the daily, it does not have a double top. On the weekly, it still does, but that would require a weekly close below there. So on the weekly, we still have a potential double top. It is valid, but it requires, now it can be entered early, but in order to officially trigger, it needs a weekly follow through. The daily does not cut it unless you're front running the pattern. And it is against the weekly rotation zone. Okay. So we can still pay attention to that. On the bigger picture, the NASDAQ also technically on the weekly basis, not on the daily basis, against the rotation zone also. So, stalling out yesterday at the minor harmonic level, closing right at it. So far, a pullback. I'm paying attention to last Thursday's high on the initial pullback area and then closer to right around 25,100 on a slightly bigger. If we do get some kind of slightly bigger sell-off into the daily rotation zone, I'm watching the close in relation to Monday's low price. Looks like we'll cover crude. Don't worry, Charles. Oh, remind me, Rick. So, if we do, let me go back to this. I didn't cover because I'm more focused on potential consolidation, at least consolidation. But if we rally up today, 6,800 to about 6,805 is my target if we do stage another rally. Cycles still have a little more room to potentially run. That does not mean we can't. That does not mean we have to roll over. But I'm paying attention to that. On the NASDAQ, we're against very key resistance. If we do break above all-time highs, 25,435 area, then 25,548. So 25,550. The Dow, key level I'm watching any pullback is 46,700 still. All right, the Dow on the weekly basis still has a double. On the daily, we're going to take this off on the daily and just leave it on the weekly. So all these doubles are technically only valid on the weekly. All right, the Dow, if we run to the upside, I'm still focusing on just above, just around 47,080 to 47,100. And the bigger pullback level, I'm looking at about 46,500 to 46,530. Right now, the Russell Trading against my support level 2503, 2502. We do break down. My key support is 2472. We close below that. I bet you then we'll come back down and retest the 50 to the 2431 area, the 50 EMA. Other than that, we've got some still waning momentum. We already had a major divergence up here, and we have still the risks in the regional banks and credit risks staying out there. Staying out there. Hey, Christoph. VIX still trading above key support, but another decent sell-off yesterday in the VIX. Again, I'm looking for volatility hedges through at least the beginning of November, even for options expiration in November. Not out of the woods on this market yet, especially with this rally back to all-time highs. I'm watching it again with VIX dropping and pushing these all-time highs. Looking for volatility hedges. Not a guarantee for that end of year rally yet. DAX closing back above my minor support level. Still, we're in a look at the DAX. Take a step back. The DAX has gone a whole lot of nowhere since the beginning of June. Yes, it's slightly up. It's slightly up. Cannot do that. But again, watch this weekly rotation zone, which is flattening out. I'm going to be paying attention to that. But then that's not major short, so we start really breaking down about 23.5. So again, it's playing support resistance at this point. The DAX did trigger a %B buy yesterday also, and filling the gap. Filling the full gap with the %B buy. Notes. Watch to see if we get into... We got the CPI, remember, coming out on Friday. Watch to see if this gets to double top territory. I should say potential double top territory. That's all I'm touching with the notes and the yields, the 10-year micro yields. That's the only thing I'm watching for at this point. Other than that, because why? We're trading into a very key support area here. The only way I can really focus on getting short is if we turn this key support into resistance. I mean, there's micro shorts in here. Micro shorts on the 10-year yields, on the micro yields. There you go. That's the only thing, but it's too scalpy to talk about on this channel. Crude. Potential %B buy. We are oversold. Cycles at the bottom. Has tried to break above there a couple times. I've been watching this on the shorter term charts. Right now, this was not a double. So I'm just watching these key couple points right in here to see if we get some support here and a little bounce that could potentially take us back above the close. But again, if we don't follow through on a close above yesterday's high, it's not an official trigger. And it is still scalpy because the first target is around this 58.20 area. That's why I'm watching this little minor pullback to see if that can hold. And we get again, that's very short term. But if we do get the bounce and can get something above the 8 EMA, people are getting very bearish on crude again. Remember, it's not profitable for a lot of things to pump below 60. So there's a pretty solid floor here unless we start going into, if we start getting, hey, we're going into major recession. Yes, we can go lower. And yes, gas will drop, but it won't drop for the right reasons. We finally got the bounce pattern in natty gas. It's hard to trade. We had the gap up, and that was not a roll gap, by the way. That was a news gap. We finally got the bounce pattern I was watching for after fully closing the gap, the roll gap. That was a tough one to trade, though. Gold. Volatility again. Don't freak out, leverage people. Now that we're top halfway bearish bar last week, let's see how this week ends up. Remember, oh boy, I mean, this is insane. Please, people, unless you're using way over levered, which so many people are, but on this run up, let's go to the highs. It's gone up 30% in 9 weeks. 9 weeks, 30%, and you're panicking. You're panicking about this. This is where everything is so screwed with. It's got to keep going up. We can't even have a pullback. So has it confirmed the double? And here, this did not invalidate. It actually made it into a higher probability double. Now, it has not confirmed or triggered. It may not. Would I be shorting this? No. But this is a key short-term stop level. All right, because again, this doesn't have to play out all the targets. Going against the daily rotation zone, into the daily rotation zone, I'd really be focused on this first target area, this 4,100 to roughly about 4050 area as the first, if this were to trigger. Okay, we also got divergences. We eked out a new high, so it's waning momentum, but we got the freak out pattern going on after gold went vertical. People will never learn. Silver testing the bottom of the rotation zone. I wonder if we're going to get like an interesting little bounce here and make it head and shoulders pattern here. Going to be interesting to see that. To see if we start forming a head and shoulders. Again, gold, silver, another one. Come on, people. Come on. All right, copper, going a whole lot of nowhere. Going to be watching to see if we close below this 4.95. Platinum. See this, again, speculative mania coming right up to the harmonic cluster. Big, we have not covered this. Friday was a major reversal day. Little bounce on Monday, breaking down today. I'm watching, don't normally focus as much on the key lows, but I'm watching the lows back from the 2nd of October. This might also set up a horizontal head and shoulders. And we do still have a roll gap left behind and the 50 EMA. But things are the speculative mania, again, would not be going super short, would be watching for the next bounce up. But, I mean, platinum, how far has that run? How far since the lows in April? Platinum 100% since April. And since the end of July, beginning of August, 40%. Let's all freak out. Let's all freak out. Speaking of percent B buy, was there a percent B buy trigger in ES at yesterday's close? At yesterday's close, there was, yes, a percent B buy triggered into very key. Again, if you were playing that percent B, that had to be entered intraday. With this kind of volatility, that's why I stress it. If you're playing percent Bs right now, you got to be pretty much trading them intraday. Forgot to mention that. Thank you for pointing that out, Sterling. There's too much rattling around in my brain. That's why everybody's got to learn the stuff so you can point it out, and that's why we're consistent here. We don't jump from setup to setup, but this was, pay attention to key highs. 4% B buys. This was one yesterday that followed through on the close. Now, would I be getting long on the close yesterday? Not with this major resistance overhead. This had to be traded intraday. Good. Thank you, Sterling. There's like 10 people in the entire. There's more than 10 people. There's more than 10 with the amount of pain that people are freaking out about. Oh, that's when you know things, when people can't even accept a down day, just like people considering, and I'm not making fun again, if you're considering, remember the Friday the 10th, people were literally talking about ending their life, which is not a thing to joke about on a down day. That wasn't even 3%. And we're getting those 5 times levered ETFs with 0-day options. People can't even look at this. Look at since the lows when we had the capitulation bottoms. Look at the monthly. Look at this. You haven't even had a down month. People can't even take a down day. What's going to happen when we have a down month? Be careful. Learn to do it right and don't over lever. This is not the time to be over leveraged. Use some, if you want to use leverage, use it like at a capitulation bottom, which we talked about. Use a little leverage if you want something. Don't be putting in the leverage at all-time highs with a Schiller PE above 40. This is not the time to go all in. Dollar index. Please, another percent B buy. I believe I mentioned this one. I know I mentioned this one. We held the 50. We set up there. Percent B buy falling through. Now, is this one that means we got to hold it in case this massive double bottom triggers? No. We're getting into key resistance, so it's an aggressive trail from my perspective on this. But there's a lot of people still bearish. Euro, I know I mentioned this possible sell on commodities and currencies. I will use the same rules for percent B buys and sells. So this was above 1. Setting up there. We don't talk about sells in the stocks that much because of the natural upward bias, unless things are, and I prefer 1.25. But I will, for indices, use the 1 if we're overstretched. Again, since stocks have an upward bias naturally, I more use it for trailing stops, not shorting. But the euro breaking down to a key support level. We did not cover the yen. Yen also with a really nice bottoming candlestick pattern, setting up a percent B buy and a possible rotation zone buy. Triggered yesterday, following through. Here's again, for managing this, sorry, clicked on the wrong, managing this, definitely a stop raise at this 62.5. I'm going to watch where this closes today in relation to 62.5. It closes above 62.5. Next targets, at least for a stop raise, 152.30, 152.80, 152.79 is a very key level. That's how I look to manage that one. Spideys. This is still valid on the daily too, but again, also on the weekly. The Spideys, the key pullback, I'm watching for the key pullback levels. Oh, shoot. Grab the right thing, Mike. I'm watching between 666.80 to about 666. We're trading just a slight gap down today. In front of there, I'm watching 669. Other than that, on any rally would be for the gap fill into major resistance. Okay, major resistance, so I'd be paying close to, on a rally, yesterday's high area. Getting around 672.25 to 672.70. Qs, I'm really paying attention on today, about 608.30 on a pullback, and then on a if we did pull back more than that, I'm watching yesterday's low. Good old Bitcoin. Sell all your gold, rotate into Bitcoin. Why is it all? Why is all this See, that's another sign of gambling. I got to sell all of one asset to go into another asset. I got to sell all my gold to go into all in on Bitcoin. Does that make rational sense? Anyways, if you say you have to be all in on any asset or asset class, that's not proper trade management. That is gambling. All in. And I know gold bugs. All in on gold. Never selling my gold. Well, what's the point if you're never going to sell it? But again, if you say, oh, I've been all in on gold. Really? All in. Think about that. If in your own life, if you're all in on any one stock, if you're all in on one asset, I don't care what that asset is. You got to look at that. You got to look at that. That's not proper portfolio management. Watching this rotation zone, by the way, on Bitcoin. Bitcoin came back to test this key breakdown level. All right, Rick wanted REMX. Well, I can type rare earth strategic metals. I don't know if anybody sees what jumps out at me. Possibly. Not well formed yet. Again, does this look? This could easily return to the weekly rotation zone. Easily. If I can click on the right thing. Everybody, again, not everybody, but so many people, all in on rare earths. Vertical up, vertical down, but not all in a straight line. Not saying rare earths are not important. What I'm saying is things get overdone. We haven't had these patterns before. Okay? It's not like these patterns are out of the normal. Look, 2020, 2021. Whoop. Look where it bled down to. I wonder what level that was. If you need to go, that's fine. Look at that. What do we watch if it closes below the 62.5? The 87.5. Forming another base. Now, could this go more vertical? Sure. Oh, yeah, easily. But what I'm saying, does this have to stop? No. Can it reconnect along the way with some longer term support? Yes. I'm not saying this has to end. But this is not unprecedented. Voop, 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 voop. So, and by the way, this is not a short to me. Yet. Just keep that in mind. Again, the rotation zone is still right there. We could easily pull back in that weekly rotation zone and could set up for another buy. Go back in your charts and pay attention. Yes, there is a double top dark screen. CLF. All right. We got Cleveland Cliffs. Does this have to end yet? No. Would I be shorting it? No. Can it pull back into the daily rotation zone? Easily. Again, don't be surprised at backtracks. That's where everybody goes all in and then gets shocked when, oh my gosh, what's going on? This, again, not a short. This actually could be an interesting buy back in the daily rotation zone. Would be looking for a possible percent B buy setup. It's also overextended from the weekly. If it did get a weekly percent B buy, I'd definitely be interested. Okay, not surprising. We got a key gap left behind. You got earnings. Again, miss. Look, they were missing down here. Now they could pick up next quarter and run up again, but people are piling it in everything and running it vertical. So, again, would not be shortened. It's actually a really nice key level back around 14. See? Right now, I'm not even trading doubles intraday unless they trigger and pull back to the candle body areas for reward to risk. Don't get greedy. Take profits while they are there and manage your reward to risk. And it doesn't matter if you miss a trade. There's always another trade. But Bitcoin will go to 300K. Okay. Fantastic. Well, as long as Tether's around, it could. Cliff made an announcement getting into rare earths. That's going to be the next thing. You're gonna see the. Remember, it was it was Bitcoin. You had to rename your company with Bitcoin with crypto in it, and then you had to rename your company with some kind of AI in it. Now you're going to go into rare earths. Okay, you're going to have like mom and pop diner company, rare earth. We not only serve omelets, we mine for minerals. Okay? You're going to see it. IHOP and rare earths. Denny's and rare earths. Let's jump on the next. I'm not saying rare earths are very important and there's going to be upwards pressure on those for a while. But you're going to see that's the next thing. That's the next thing. Forget MicroStrategy or strategy, whatever it's called now. That's old news. Rare earths. Krispy Kreme and rare earths. That's the way they can salvage their stock. We sell donuts and we're mining for minerals. Mineral beer, we could have Sam Adams, Boston Lager, and rare earths. Come on. So what I'm saying, this is why you can trade these things fine. Just be careful with leverage and rare earths. Maybe gold is old news because gold is not a rare earth. It's a rare earth, but it's not a rare earth. I think my business model is fantastic now. I'm going to go into naming consultancy. Let's take a look at this. Ooh. What's the magic level also to watch, everyone? Right around 1650. Look at how well the harmonic. You can't make this stuff up. Sorry, if you need to go, go. Look at this. Look at this. Look at this. So we had a minor little run against key resistance, a breakdown. Support, broke down, resistance. Look where that lines up right now. Woof. 62 and a half. So, Cleveland Cliffs, rare earths. If it does set up something, that's the key level to watch. Stop wetting Rick's pants. All right, with that, it's comedy hour. It is comedy hour in the morning. It's why everybody tunes in, not for the levels and the potential setups. It's for my horrible comedy. Again, I'm erring on the side of it get choppier. Choppier, we could go choppy bullish, choppy bearish. Right now, I'm going to be watching 66, this area right here. You can see it. You can see it right there. That's the support side. The breakdown side's right around here. For any intraday, if you're longer term, do not worry about these levels. And by the way, for any trades, again, it's scalp. I'm erring on the side of scalpier. Would rather be, unless we get momentum bars. But I'd have to be in something, and then we'd have to get momentum bars for me to shift my stance on that. With that, I hope everyone has a wonderful day. The Louvre better beef up the rare earth exhibit. That was shocking, wasn't it? You know, people chainsaw guys in the middle of the day. You're telling me, and they don't have armed guards. I looked at that earlier. Surprising enough, Sterling. I just didn't call it out on here. Again, I'm really starting to watch if this can get above 300 again on that choppy open for sure. All right. Sorry to keep everybody too long. Hope this was helpful today. We'll go back tomorrow to see which companies are renaming themselves. I know home builders should rename themselves because they're sort of taking it. What did Pulte, they better get on the renaming bandwagon. Look at Pulte. Uh-oh. Pulte. Pulte could be break. I'm going to be expecting this to also retest the 200 area over the next few months. But Pulte better bet a Pulte Group mining minerals. We build the homes. In case we dig up a lot, we look for minerals. There you go. Pulte is also saved. With that, I shall talk to everyone later. Bye for now.